Suzuki patted Annette's head and then used his skill, Pet. Annette appeared trapped in a cage, her eyes turned black, and she immediately bowed her head. Kotaro approached Annette and looked at her condition. He said that the purer someone is, the faster they will be controlled by Suzuki's skill. Tama couldn't contain her emotions and grabbed Kotaro by the collar, asking what he had done to Annette. Kotaro said that it was already too late. Anyone whose head was patted by Suzuki would become his slave. Tama saw Annette still bowing her head, not moving at all. Tama prepared to hit Kotaro and demanded that he dispel the skill's effect immediately. But without Tama realizing it, Suzuki was already behind her and then placed his hand on Tama's head. Instantly, Tama also bowed her head. Then, arrogantly, Suzuki told everyone there that no person or monster could resist his overpowering skill. Pet. In the crowd, Isha walked toward Suzuki and ordered him to stop what he was doing. She said she had never taught Suzuki to use his gift in such a way. Firmly, Isha declared that the town of Vale would never surrender to him. Everyone there agreed with and supported Isha, and they would never submit to Suzuki. Then, with an evil smile, Suzuki said that in that case, he would destroy the entire town and build a new kingdom. He then ordered his wolf monster to attack. People ran in fear, trying to save themselves. Isha called Suzuki a bastard. Suzuki responded that Isha should call him hero, like when they first met. Suzuki then left the place, saying he would use Isha's church as his castle. Isha was very angry, but she couldn't do anything. A while later, the town was in ruins because of the monster attack led by Suzuki. Tama, who had fallen under Suzuki's skill, also attacked Sensei, who was fortunately protected by armor bought by Annette. Calmly, Sensei remarked that what Annette had said earlier was true. They wouldn't know when or who would attack them. The armor protecting Sensei slowly cracked from Tama's attacks, and when the armor shattered, its helmet flew off and hit Tama's head, knocking her out. Sensei then put Tama into a nearby barrel and closed it. Suddenly, Isha was thrown and hit a wall near Sensei. Sensei greeted her with a smile. Isha then said that this was the true nature of the Otherworlders. Not only do they use the gifts they receive for their personal gain, but their greed also cannot be stopped, and they lose control. Isha remembered that Suzuki wasn't like this when he came to that world. He was a quiet and cowardly person. Hearing Isha's story, Sensei began to take notes. Naturally, Isha wondered why Sensei was taking notes. Sensei explained that it was very interesting. Suzuki was a man who could ignite his inspiration. Sensei then asked where Suzuki was now. Isha explained that Suzuki was currently at the church. Sensei then headed towards the church. Of course, Isha was worried, especially since Sensei had no gift at all. Sensei then said he had just been inspired to write a masterpiece. Isha decided to go with him. Finally, they arrived in front of the church. Sensei appeared very calm, unlike Isha, who was extremely panicked. Isha said that there was no way Sensei could win against another worlder who possessed a gift. If Sensei rashly opened the church door, he would only be killed by the monsters controlled by Suzuki. Sensei then pulled out a poison from his clothing. Isha felt a bit relieved, thinking that Sensei wasn't reckless and had a strategy, killing the monsters there with poison. But Isha was shocked when Sensei drank the poison himself. Nearly desperate, Isha crawled and suggested they launch a surprise attack through the back door. However, Sensei ignored her and casually opened the church door. Isha could only gape in disbelief. They finally entered the church and immediately confronted Suzuki, Kotaro, and Suzuki's monsters. Seeing Sensei, Suzuki assumed that he was someone Isha had asked for help. Sensei greeted Suzuki and said that he was someone interested in him and intended to write a novel about him. Arrogantly, Suzuki thought that Sensei would write a saga about Suzuki the hero who conquered another world. Sensei bluntly denied it and said he would write about a man falling into the abyss of greed after receiving power beyond his abilities. Sensei was intrigued by Suzuki, who truly reflected human nature. Suzuki felt insulted by Sensei. He then ordered his monsters to kill Sensei. Sensei didn't seem afraid at all. He continued writing in his book. Fortunately, Isha quickly used her magic, pointed ray of light, Billane, and managed to incapacitate several monsters. However, one monster slipped through and almost bit Isha. She blocked it with her staff. Seeing this opportunity, Suzuki ordered another monster to attack Isha with a fireball spell. Sensei remained calm, still writing in his book. Unexpectedly, an iron helmet deflected the fireball, sending it back towards Suzuki and his group. It turned out that Melos was inside the iron helmet. Sensei thanked him, recalling that Annette had said the armor she gave him could even deflect novice-level spells, as Melos had just demonstrated. Now, Kotaro panicked, but Suzuki still had his strongest monster. He immediately commanded it to attack Sensei. Suzuki was delighted to see the monster successfully bite Sensei, confident that it would kill him. But unexpectedly, the monster's mouth and head started turning black, and it fell and slowly disintegrated. A notification appeared, indicating that Sensei had defeated the monster with his poison. Of course, Suzuki and Kotaro were shocked to see their strongest monster die instantly. Isha couldn't believe what she was seeing either. She quickly decided to heal Sensei's wounds with her magic. Kotaro then fled the scene in fear. Isha ordered Suzuki to surrender, but he wasn't ready to give up. With a snap of his fingers, he called forth Annette, who had been affected by his pet skill. Suzuki handed Annette a knife and commanded her to kill Isha and Sensei. Annette began to attack Isha, who blocked the attack and jumped back. She then told Sensei that they couldn't attack Annette and suggested they retreat. Sensei closed his book, walked toward Annette, and said that Annette wasn't as weak as Isha thought. Seeing this, Suzuki laughed. He claimed that once someone was under the effect of his pet skill, it couldn't be dispelled. Annette would be his slave for life. Sensei responded that it was Annette's right to decide her fate, and that Suzuki had no right to dictate it. Sensei was now in front of Annette. He told her that she wasn't a bird in a cage, and reassured her. Annette seemed to struggle to resist stabbing Sensei with the knife, causing her hand to bleed. Angrily, Suzuki ordered Annette to kill Sensei again. Annette raised the knife once more. However, in her mind, she found herself alone in a cage surrounded by darkness. As Annette pondered, a ray of light suddenly appeared as Sensei opened the door and said something to her. Annette then pointed the knife at her own foot and fell unconscious. Sensei caught Annette as she collapsed. When Annette opened her eyes, her consciousness had returned. Sensei asked Isha to heal Annette's wounds. Suzuki became extremely frustrated, seeing his skill, which he believed to be overpowering, countered by Sensei. He then intended to end his own life with the knife he had given Annette. At the right moment, Sensei grabbed the knife and stopped him, saying, "Don't kill yourself." Sensei explained that he was writing a book about Suzuki and didn't want him to end the story so abruptly. Now, Sensei wanted to hear about Suzuki's life story. Suzuki looked panicked and frightened under Sensei's gaze. A flashback occurred, showing Suzuki in his original world, being bullied by other male students. Suzuki realized he was weak, and those stronger always treated him like a pet. Suzuki had considered suicide multiple times, but he didn't have the courage to go through with it. One evening, on his way home from school, he was upset when someone bumped into him and scolded him. But Suzuki couldn't do anything. He continued walking, and then a truck hit him. Suzuki was reincarnated in Zauberberg as a hero, greeted by Isha in her church. It was then that Suzuki received the gift of the skill Total Obedience, Pet. With his skill, Suzuki tamed several wolf monsters and defeated others. Suzuki realized he now possessed incredible power. As he walked through a crowd, many people looked at him with disdain. Someone also bumped into him, angrily accusing Suzuki, as an otherworlder, of blocking his way. Suzuki was reminded of similar experiences in his original world. He then used his pet skill, making the person who bumped into him fight with another. From that moment, Suzuki felt powerful and acted as he pleased. Back in the present, Suzuki lamented his inability to even commit evil properly. No matter where he lived, he was always just a coward. Sensei listened and wrote down everything in his book. Sensei then said it was fascinating. The novel about Suzuki was finally finished, a story about a pathetic man who wished to live as a hero in this world, but whose fragile heart prevented him from becoming either a hero or a villain. Sensei decided to title it No Longer Heroic. But then Sensei changed his mind and chose a more fitting title, No Longer Allowed in Another World. After writing the title, a bright light emanated from Sensei's book. Shining sheets of paper also surrounded Suzuki. Sensei thanked Suzuki because thanks to him, he was able to write something satisfying again. However, Sensei lamented that his work could not yet be called a masterpiece. Sensei then tore a sheet of paper into small pieces. A magic circle appeared on the floor where Suzuki stood. Anit and Isha, seeing this, recognized it as the magic circle used to summon an otherworlder. They were also confused as to why the circle was there. Bright light and flashes of electricity surrounded Suzuki. Anit noticed the teleportation effect was reversed. Then, from the magic circle, a beam of light shot up into the sky. Anit and Isha stood frozen, realizing that Suzuki was no longer there, assuming he had been sent back to his original world. Anit was shocked to see a notification window as she was sure that Sensei had no gift before, but now he had the skill writing storyteller. In her heart, Isha wondered if this was a special skill that only activated when facing a specific target, otherworlders. Isha also thought, does this mean Sensei was sent to this world to deal with the otherworlders? Now, Sensei lay on the floor of the church, feeling slightly disappointed because he had failed to create another masterpiece. Sensei wondered if there would be anyone who could ignite his inspiration. Isha was also becoming more curious about who Sensei really was. While lying down, Sensei asked where Suzuki had gone. Anit replied that Sensei had just sent him back to his original world. In the city, the monsters suddenly stopped attacking and moved away. Tama also woke up and regained her senses. Naturally, she was angry and confused, wondering why someone had put her in a barrel. Time passed, and Isha gave Sensei a new coffin, just as he had wanted. Sensei was very grateful and thanked Isha, saying the coffin was perfect for him. With a serious expression, Isha spoke with Anit. Isha mentioned that Sensei might play an important role in the future of this world. Therefore, Anit's journey with Sensei might be dangerous. Isha asked Anit to support Sensei, believing that Anit could do it. Before they left, Isha asked Sensei if Suzuki had become the way he was because he gained too much power in this world. Sensei responded with, "Who knows?" Isha also wondered if Suzuki had returned to his original world and was living in misery again. Sensei replied that Suzuki's story as a hero in this world was over, but his story in the original world was not. It was up to him to make it a masterpiece or not. Isha agreed with Sensei's opinion. Sensei then continued his journey with Anit and Tama. The scene then shifted to Suzuki's original world. He had finished school and was now applying for a job at a convenience store. When someone asked him for a reason, Suzuki couldn't answer and looked scared. The man interviewing him apologized and told him to come back to the store the next day for work. Suzuki walked out of the store, alone, down a dark street as snow fell. A piece of paper fell onto a pile of snow with the words "To be continued" written on it.